And start it off.
Okay.
All right, guys. I want to welcome you to the first Foo Minecraft Summit. This is just an informative meeting. We're going to discuss some topics that's going to affect the whole server, and we try to get everybody included into the goings on of the server, because it's inevitably you guys are the ones that make the server. So, like we said earlier on, send all your messages or questions to KJP. And if it's something that he can answer, he will. If not, he'll field it to us, and we'll try to answer it accordingly. If we don't get all your questions tonight, we'll leave it on the forum so that we'll give you the answers that you guys need. First of all, there's a couple topics we're going to go over, and then we'll go into a little bit of where we're at, and then we'll go into where we want to be. So, current topic has been pretty popular is Heroes. It's a plugin that a lot of people came to the server hoping to play, and we did play with it prior to 1.2 patch. We just want to give you a heads up on where we're at. So, Max, you want to go ahead and give us some information on where we're at on that?
Yeah, main issue with Heroes is the fact that their developers have publicly stated that they will not do any official updates until after a recommended build of Bukkit has been put out. Bukkit's the server that we basically run off of. It's a wrapper. That's about all the detail I'm going to give you if you don't understand that. But nonetheless, we can't do anything until the developers update. Now, apparently there are some hard-to-find development builds of Heroes. I don't know how stable they are. They don't really officially talk about them. So I'm going to kind of troll their IRC, maybe see if we can pull down one of the development builds they use and give it a try. But right now, that's really all we are with it. Just got to sit and wait, unfortunately. Not happy about it, but not much we can do.
Now, with that in play, we're gonna go ahead and talk about each subject, and we're gonna open it up for questions. Does any of the nation's leaders have any questions on that?
Yeah, what are you going to be doing in the meantime to kind of, supplement PvP? Because on the original server, we had like all those spells that we were able to cast, we had disarm, etc., etc. Are we going to implement that, or what are we going to do in the meantime?
You just reminded me of something, Lives. I meant to earlier this morning look at magic spells. It has not been officially updated, so that's why it doesn't work with 1.2. The latest development build as of a couple days ago did not work either. I tried to put it on the server, and as you've noticed, some spells work, some don't, so we just went ahead and disabled it altogether. Now I'm going to, now that you reminded me, I'm going to test the latest development build if there's a new one tonight. Put it on the server, see if it works. If it works, spells will be back on. If it doesn't work, unfortunately, it's going to have to be taken back off for now. But again, that's another plugin that is a development issue, something we have to wait for. Again, something I don't really like, but I'd rather have the server out running 1.2. And I mean, we've had it out for well over, what is it, like 3 weeks now, I think. And we would have been waiting this entire time if for Heroes and magic spells and those type of plugins to update.
All right, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
For anyone interested, the arena that we originally had, unfortunately, that plugin is not updated either. I just searched development builds for that earlier this morning, and it has not been developed at all for about 3-4 weeks. I'm hoping that it's just kind of like a snag, because I did really like that plugin. I think a lot of people did. So we'll see, but that's the stance on that plugin as well.
Just a little FYI too, when we tell you that plugins aren't in, we're always looking for replacements. So we want to kind of keep with the same rule set that we started. So whenever one plugin's not working, we do look for alternatives, and that's why you'll notice that, with like Chesslock and some of the other different lock programs, we have a set goal that we're wanting to do with the chess system, and it's just being able to get a solid release build to be able to make sure that it runs and doesn't cause lag or other issues. KJ, any questions from anybody?
So far, nope, not right now.
All right, so we'll go ahead and close the heroes topic, and and just to reiterate, Magic Spells is definitely a plugin that we're interested in. So we're constantly keeping up to date with what's available. All right, so next, a pretty big topic that everybody's shown concern of, Townie. It's going to be we've come up with a couple solutions. One, we're going to have a capital city. The capital city is going to be aligned with each of our nations. And if for you new people that come to the server, we used to be a faction server, but we've, due to the increase of size and the population base, we're going to move it to a nation. And then each nation has a capital. The capital is going to be a designated 200 by 200 area. It's going to be free to the 4 nations that are already on the server. You'll have the opportunity to have that as a hub spot where the gates will be located. There'll also be vendors, repair vendors, and or the option to have mega builds. Now, the one thing that's a major thing is you will not be able to set up a residence in there to live, meaning that you won't have access to any chest or any other certain abilities. Now, the nation leaders are going to be the ones who dictate who builds, so that's going to be depending on your nation on how it gets built. Any KJ, Eki, anything you want to add to that?
Nope. Nope.
Questions?
Nope.
In general, like about the mega build or Townie in general?
Townie in
Well,
general.
we haven't got to the we're talking about the capitals part.
We're gonna come to the as far as sizing and taxes and that. We'll come to that. Real quick note, I actually didn't forget to do magic spells. I did put it on the server earlier. I forgot to test it though, and it's not working at all. So unfortunately, that's the latest dev build. It was released early this morning. So we'll see. But that's the status on magic spells.
Now, as far as capitals go, I think Fire's got a pretty good grasp on what they're planning to do. And, it's up to each individual nation leader to decide on how they want to build in that area and or when they want to build in that area. It doesn't have to be now. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. Go from there. Other Townie Part 2. Townie Part 2 is going to be the initial Townie size that we talked about coming into the server. Because the new 1.2 patch, they've increased the block height, so now you have 256 blocks to deal with. I have concerns with being able to block from the bedrock to the sky, so we're kind of coming to terms on how we're going to set up Townie properly. My suggestion was that today, the last suggestion that I made was max of or minimum of 6 people to create the town, and you have to have a charter, and it has to be on the forums, and there's a 40K price tag for that. Once that charter is met, you can have up to 50 chunks allocated for that town with a max of 25 members to be able to receive those 50 chunks. Now, what we have not come up with yet is the break off of where the chunks are implemented, and that's something that we were going to talk about today. Your mic just went to mute, Max.
Give me 1 second. Go to a different topic for like 30 seconds.
Can do. With just what I told you, does anybody have any questions about the Townie plugin?
We have no questions about that, but I have one question so far. The question's in, will there be a faction-only chat? If no, why not? I think he's meaning by in-game.
That's an option. That's a suggestion. That would take a specific plugin to be able to set up individual chats. It's not to say that we can't do that. There has been a lot of interest for that. What we would need to do, and if anybody's ever dealt with me, my memory's not that great, so I suggest you make a suggestion on the forums, write it out, show a need for it, and then we'll have a discussion. And once the discussion with everybody on the server, then we'll make a decision if there's a large need for it.
The best thing to do is to put something in writing so we remember. We do so much work that I always forget. Go ahead, whoever's talking.
Quick question about Townie. Do you know sort of? Have you got any ideas about how much gold it's going to take to maintain the town in terms of taxes?
Well, the taxes we had set at it varied. So for 6 people, the minimum town size, it cost 100. It cost 100 gold per person. It cost 600 gold. Now 600 gold for 6 people for 7, 8, and 9. When you hit 10 people, it was then a little bit more. I can't remember the exact levels. They're on the forms. Now, so it was 100. It was at most 100 gold per person, and for the majority of the levels, it was actually less than that. You get 100 gold for voting. So you vote once a day, and that covers your daily tax, supplementing whatever else you make. If that's too high, if people think that's too high, I mean, we can always change that. One issue that was addressed is having a weekly instead of a daily tax. Now, we cannot automatically take a weekly tax. Townie only allows for a daily tax. So that's why we have the daily tax. We don't want to have to manually go in, take the tax out of the bank. If there's not the funds in the bank, we don't want to have to delete the town manually. We don't want to have to inflict punishment as it goes. Basically, you pay the daily tax. You don't pay the tax, the town's gone. That's the way it works. Real simple, real easy. It's all automated. The players, or the town can set a tax on its players, again, a daily tax. It ensures you have a minimum balance taken every day so that you can pay the nation tax. If a player doesn't pay the tax, can't afford it, then they're automatically removed from the town. Again, default setting can't be changed, has to be daily, can't be weekly. That's
I
what
want to touch on that for a second, though. The reason why we do that is because you're allotted chunks based on the members of your town. So if your members aren't paying their dues and they're removed from the town, the amount of chunks that are protected are going to be reduced.
Exactly. It keeps your active player base playing. If you have players that aren't playing, it doesn't allow you to keep them in there. They're going to be dead weight. So if you keep the players in there, you're going to be paying a higher tax. You have to support them if you want the land. The other thing that we're going to do is when you lose players from your town, you still keep all your protected chunks. So if you're allotted 25 chunks, you lose a player and you knock down to 20 chunks, you still keep all 25. Now, what we're going to do, I believe this is posted on the forums. It may not be. So if you have more chunks than you're allotted, within 24 hours, you have to remove those chunks. Otherwise, destruction is going to be turned on. So you can get griefed. People can come in and steal your stuff. And you have to pay the tax within 72 hours. Or not the tax. You have to remove the chunks within 72 hours. Otherwise, the town's going to be deleted outright, just as if you weren't paying taxes. So you can't recruit a bunch of members, protect all your land, and then lose the members. We don't want that. You have the nation capital for the mega build. That's automatically set the 200 by 200 area. So that's for your mega build. Your towns, where your residences are, they have to be maintained based on your player base.
And it's kind of more like realistic, more like a real life thing, if that makes sense. Because in a real town situation, you're only as big as the amount of people that you have in your town.
Was that what you were addressing prior to me having to jump out there for a second, Vaughn? Or
the amount of people and where the chunks go. I've had a couple questions asked to me if it was pretty firm that 25 members was the cap. I'm going to say yes, because we had it set up for 36.
There's no way to cap it. Now, the way it worked is once you had 36 members, that was your tax. You can keep getting members as much as you want, but you're not going to get any more land. We're going to cap it at a certain amount of land. So once you have a certain number of members, you're kind of screwed. You don't want to keep taking in members. So if 25 is the cap, you don't want many more than 25. Otherwise, you're going to have too many people in too small of an area. Players can only be a member of a single town. Now, if a town is part of a nation, so if you've got 2 towns for Fire Nation, that's fine. You're a member of the town. You can be a member of the nation as well, as long as the nation's created. Nation creation is going to be the same way. Admins are going to have to do it. Again, real simple. Just pick out a spot for the second town. The first town, the capital town, that's your nation capital. Every other town is just a part of the nation, each with its own mayor and everything. So the same nation leader can't be the head of every town. He's only the head of the capital. So
Well, keep in mind. Hold on. Keep in mind the capital is going to be protected with residents, not county.
well, yeah, but the town that the nation leader is the head of is going to be it's the capital in terms of townies. So while the capital is protected with residents, the main town, like the first town, is the capital in townie. So whatever we want to call it, townie calls it the capital. That's just what I was referring to it as. But it's
Question.
go ahead, Liv. Sorry.
I have a question as far as like signing goes. So say if, Fire Faction has, 25 members or whatever, can we just use those same 25 members to keep signing over and over new towns?
No, because you can only be a member of one town. So all you need is 6 signatures. You don't have to have 25 people sign the charter. Now, if you want, you can have, if all 25 sign the charter, 6 of those can sign the new charter, but they're going to have to leave the first town. So they can't be in 2 towns. The people signing the charter can't be in a town. So if you've got 6 players signing the second town for Fire, you've got to, they have to leave the first town to join the second.
All right, thank you.
Here's another thing too. Like I said, I've got a couple questions. The questions were, they're thinking 25 members is too steep. Realistically, it's really not. The goal of our server is to recruit more people. So if you're a nation leader or a general under that nation leader, you need to actively recruit, meaning that you need to hit the Minecraft forums, you need to hit the website, and try to get 25 people.
The goal isn't to reach 25 people in a day. It's not. You don't need to max it out to get as much land as you want. The nations as themselves have the capital for the mega build. The towns are just to support players. Now, we were a little hazy on this at first, but I know a lot of people have wanted this, so I'll just go ahead and say this is what we'll do. If you've got 6 people to make a town, you can make a town. So if you've got 12 people in a nation, you can have 2 towns, 6 and 6. But again, you have to have 6 new players. It can't be 6 players being in 2 towns. It's six different players for the second town. But you don't need to have 25 players in one town before you can create a second town.
Here's another thing too. You got to keep in mind there are restrictions of town. You have to build within 250 blocks of each town.
Yes, the town cannot be within the center block of the town cannot be within 256 blocks of another town home block, whether it's your nation's town, whether it's another town's town. So it forces you to spread out a lot. The map is huge. It's a 5 or 6,000 block radius, so that's 10 to 12,000 blocks wide. It's a huge map. Should not have any problems spreading out. And a town could be right next to the capital. So if you want your main town to be right next to your capital mega build, you can do that. That's not going to cause any issues. It's not restricted. But you do have that.
And if you only have 12 people in your faction or your nation, and you do want to decide to do 2 towns, just keep in mind you're only going to get the minimum amount of trunks with 6 people signing the charter.
Yep, exactly.
I kind of have a weird question. You said that it doesn't matter how close your town is to your capital. Couldn't someone technically abuse the system and put it inside?
Admins have to found the town. If you put the town inside the capital, I'll delete the town and the capital. So just don't do it. Yes, you could technically do it, but given the fact that we have to set it up for you, and like I said, we're only setting up the first block. So after that, it's all you. All we do is pick your home block, and you can always change your home block. So that's no problem. If you ever want to move the town, you don't have to find one of us. But that initial block, I don't think it's too much of a hassle finding one of us to do it. But yeah, anyone that's a town leader, we're going to take it on just kind of on on a trust system. Don't protect the capital. And if you do, you're not going to be the town leader again. So yeah, that's your first, only, and final warning.
Well, the server is going to win in that argument.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so and I don't think anyone would object to that. But technically, yes, you can do it, but don't do it.
It's frowned upon. I got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, is that pretty clear for everybody? Was there any other questions on Townie? I know it's a big subject.
I'm just checking.
Oh,
Someone says that there
Go ahead.
is nation chat / private chat in Townie for everybody in that town. That would help with faction private chat.
We can implement that. I have to look and see its compatibility with Hero Chat, which is what we use for chat. Now, if I can include both, I will. If all I have to do is create separate town channels within Heroes, I can do that. I'll look into it.
I think it's just like there's an option within Townie for that. So
There is an option, but it's an added chat plugin that's currently not there.
oh, okay.
So no, you cannot do it currently. I'll have to set it up. I'll look into its compatibility, and if I can do it easily, I will. The main reason we haven't yet is because we encourage people to use TeamSpeak. It's much easier, it's quicker, you don't have to type. But people have wanted it, so yeah, we'll probably go ahead and do that. We're probably gonna add a help channel as well. The chat has just kind of been on a back burner since the 1.2 update, as most things have been content updates, feature updates, making sure everything's up to date and working, compatibility, configurations changing. So the chat honestly has gone to the back burner, but I'll work on that.
Another question is, what can you do if you're on vacation and you're going to be off for a couple of days so you can't pay the taxes?
Well, let me field that. Well, first of all, it's going to automatically, you already have money on you. So if you're broke, then unfortunately you need to let your your nation leader know. It's all about communication. And if you're going to be in a nation, there should be some form of communication back and forth with the leader and the subordinates.
Yeah, the main thing is tell your nation leader if they can like loan you a little bit of gold. The other thing, if you've got access to like a laptop or smartphone, if you vote once a day, you cover your tax, which I mean it takes 30 seconds, so it's really not that big of a deal. Now, do you have to do that? No, I'm not gonna go ahead and force you and say like, no, you have to vote if you want to do it. But unfortunately, you will, and it's not gonna be hard to stockpile gold. I mean, gold is
go
50,
mine for a day.
exactly. It's 50 gold coins a bar. So I mean, if you're going on vacation for a week, it's less than a stack of gold. If you get a stack of gold, you're covered for however long you need. So really, it shouldn't be that big of a concern. Like I said, at most, the required taxes will be 100 gold. So if your nation leader or town leader has your taxes set a lot higher, you're going to have to address it with him, because we are going to be adding in features that the nations and the towns can purchase. So we're going to have a Moongate system you can purchase to travel back and forth between areas. Once we get a guards plugin set up, you're going to be able to purchase guards and things like that. So if the nations have the taxes higher to support those added features, again, you're going to have to address that with your town and nation leaders or other players in the server, however you want to address that. But again, it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. The taxes really aren't that outrageous.
Another question is, could you make a town in the Nether?
I'm not opposed to that, but right now with the lag with the Mohang, it's not really advisable.
Yeah. Technically you can. Nothing to say that you can't. Not really sure why you'd want to, but if you want to, go ahead.
One last question for now is, will there be another avenue through which we can earn money other than selling gold ingots?
Do you have a webcam?
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding.
Well, right now, do our monsters dropping gold properly? I've heard they
I don't
are.
think so.
They are. No, that's not true. They were working. They're currently not working. I do know that pigmen are not only dropping gold nuggets, but they're also dropping gold bars.
Yeah, as a rare drop.
There's no display of how much money they dropped when it was working. There's no like, oh, you got 0.5 cash or gold or whatever.
I don't think we should have that, because that would be lots of spam if you have a spawner. It'd just be like chat spam.
Also, I just updated the drop plugin, so it might. There was some tweaks as far as what the money does, so it's possible it might say it now. I don't. It may not. Um, but if you guys want, check and verify if it is or isn't working, and let me know so we can address that. I've heard it was working, so I haven't done anything.
To also offer another answer, Auction House, we were going to re-enable that. So yes,
Yes.
Auction is re-enabled, so test
Is
it
it
out.
working?
Let me. Well, no one's tested it as far as I know. So test it out,
Okay.
see if it's working, and let me know. Test it with something not valuable, and yeah, that would be advised.
All right, moving along. There's a couple questions that were fielded to me. I just want to make you guys aware. Send these to KJP because I'm in telehell here. But one of the questions was, are we going to be wiping the server anytime soon? I'm going to say no. We do have the opportunity to add more radius to the server, and it's pretty easy to do. So I don't foresee us wiping the server anytime soon.
I mean, there's no plan to wipe the server this world ever, really.
There's no reason either.
Exactly. Hopefully, there's no game-breaking updates that would require an update. Like the reason we wiped the world previously, well, we didn't even wipe it. We still have the world. But the reason that we went with the new world is because of the jungle biomes, the increased height, all that. That's the reason. So, I mean, if there are new biomes that come out, who knows what they'd be, if there's new minerals, if there's new resources, for those to be present on the server, there needs to be a new world. So really, that's what it's dependent upon. So if it comes out with a bunch of new features and we want them, we're going to have to create a new world. In which case, we'll plan ahead and keep this world and then have the new world. Whether we transfer items in between, that's all dependent on that. But assuming there's no updates to the world, no new resources that have to be regenerated to produce, then there won't be a new world, and this world will just get bigger as it needs to. But yeah, that would be the only reason for a new world to come out as like a permanent world.
All right, guys. We got just a couple more things to go over. We went ahead over the major concerns and questions. Player recruitment. Fire Nation has done really well as far as bumping the forums. We have a list of what if you want to participate in that. The more players that come to the server, the more players you get to play with. Just word of caution: don't just hit bump. Try to have a conversation like, hey, did you guys do this? Or hey, this is a great server. Welcome to the server. That kind of thing. You don't want to go against any of the Minecraft rules as far as for bumping servers.
And also, don't post on the forums either. That's also not advised. If you do it once or twice, that's fine, but don't post like 8 times in a row. And don't post like 8 times in a row within 30 seconds of each other. That's real bad too.
A lot of the things that I want to focus on as a server is community. So it's all about getting to know your friends that you're playing with, talking in TeamSpeak, and participating in the forums. Early on, when the server was new, people would just come on and I would make them go to the forums. If they didn't want to go to the forums, I didn't really feel like it was effort to make them play on the server. So that's always going to be in the back of my mind. You only get what you do as much as you put into it.
Whoever said the servers went down, I'm fixing it right now, so just hang tight.
All right, so next thing, social media. We have a Facebook account. We have a Twitter account. Is there any other social media that anybody uses that they would like to see, or does anybody participate in that, or do they really care? Bueller. I did create a Twitch account, which and we're also going to create a Twitch through Minecraft, so that if anybody would like to just watch streaming video, like they don't have a chance to play but they want to see what's going on, we will have a Twitch account that you can see what's going on also.
The link and whatnot will be up on the main site, so you can like make your own Twitch account and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, you can participate in chat with Twitch also. So like if you just log into Twitch, you can watch, you can chat, you can. I usually disable TeamSpeak when I'm playing, so there's not a delay. But it's up to you on whether or not you want to do that. And you're welcome to do the same. Believe it or not, it actually brings people to the server. So it's a good thing.
It's a real good recruitment type thing, especially if there's a lot of people active on it. So I mean, even if you can get on it without it delaying your computer too much, just get on it and minimize it for all. I mean, just having more viewers tends to get more traffic, which is good. Again, not a requirement, just something that we'd like to see, to have that traffic there, and the server's back up also.
I'm just reading over some other stuff here. We're thinking about doing a plugin that's going to be like picking locks plugin. So be on the lookout for some of the new plugins we're going to implement. That's one of them I would definitely like to see from an RP standpoint.
And any and all updates are posted on the forums. Usually, I make a post on the main blog post, like the homepage, and I link it to the forums where I post like a more detailed update if needed. So keep an eye on the I mean, just every day, just kind of get on the forums, just take a look at it, see if there's any updates. Usually, if anything changes, it's posted there. So if you go there first, it's going to solve and answer a lot of questions before you jump on the server and say, hey, this changed.
Lastly, if you didn't know, we did upgrade to a tier 3 donator perks. We've got 2 people so far that currently have it. It does give you an additional private warps, total of 4. And you also get, if you already have a gate system already loaded, that you've already purchased or however, you can get an additional gate added to that. Plus you also can get a repair or a heal bot for your location too. So there's some pretty good stuff out there. It's going to give you an additional 5 chests, which you can have 25 lock chests also. So it's, just letting you know it's out there if you guys want it.
Yeah, and that would be $25.
25
for the
The last thing, Gibbs sent me a message, and it's a good thing. We talked about it earlier today. We're thinking about doing weekly, and this is something we've always wanted to do since the creation of the server, is events, like whether it be a scavenger hunt, a race, or arena, 1v1 arena. We want to start doing these more often, and any feedback or suggestions from the players is definitely welcome, so that we can kind of make something that you would be interested in, other than just digging blocks and PvP. So we do want to have other stuff to do besides those things.
If anyone's interested as well, this was something that we originally planned on, again, kind of put to the back burner for now. But something I've really wanted to do is kind of have like world events, open up a second world that's real small, have it pre-built, have like a dungeon, a raid type thing that you can join in. And at the end of it, you get some sort of reward, some sort of prize. Again, just like another sort of event. Maybe it's open for a weekend, a week, a month, depending on the size of it. So if anyone's interested in that, we've talked about that before. Again, pushed to the back burner right now, but something that I do want to implement at one point or another.
Kind of like going on a raid in WoW, World of Warcraft. Basically, you'll go through a portal, which goes to a separate server, which you'll have set goals that you have to accomplish, and at the end, you win the prize, and you can roll on it or whatever you want to do.
The other thing that in relation to the server events, having one thing Vaughn and I talked about was a kind of like an invasion thing, where the entire server, regardless of what nation you belong to, whether it's the Nether invading or something else, have like a little bit of preparation where everyone has to contribute resources to build some sort of defenses, and just have a massive amount of like pigmen, gas, and everything spawn actually on like the main world, and players actually have to defend it. They had to contribute resources to build. Again, just another sort of event type thing that we thought people might be interested in, thought might be really cool. So again, something else to think about if you're interested in that. I'd like to get feedback on that as well.
I personally like the idea. The last two mods that you said that you were uh, planning on toying around with, I've been typing to Vaughn saying actually at the end of this I was gonna suggest that. So I think that would be really cool to kind of promote the worldwide or the server community, which is always a plus.
Exactly. Have group events and things to do other than just building, digging blocks, and I mean, while that is what the core of Minecraft is, we do want to have more events that kind of make us stand out. Things that are actually much more involved and fun.
Yeah, it shouldn't be limited to just diamond mining. That's why I like those ideas.
And just a topic from the last arena event, if we do decide to do something like that, just be aware that griefing is not going to be allowed. PK will not be allowed unless it's part of that event.
Yeah, exactly. If we have like the raid events, we'll turn PvP off. It'll just be PvE. If there's a PvP event, same thing. If depending on the event, there'll be different rules, different regulations. If we've got the like the invasion type thing, absolutely no griefing there. I mean, yeah, well, there could be something with like RP where there's like bandits or something that want to assist with the raid, something like that. But I mean, again, all solely event based, and the rules and regulations would be posted with the event.
All right, let's open the floor. We got a few minutes. We got actually a half hour, but I don't think it's going to take that long. Any questions from anybody? Any of the nation? Anybody?
I don't have any right now.
Any
I'm trying to
concerns?
think.
Do you have anything that you want to talk about that's been positive that's worked out for you?
As the fire faction representative, because Beam's couldn't be here, I just kind of want to stress out the main point, like communication and teamwork, because everyone wants the same thing. They want more members, whether it's to make money, have fun, make new friends. I think everyone needs to participate in voting, bump in the forums, because if you do that, you get so many new people. It's like just in the past couple weeks, you can see how many more people are coming on. We'll have like 20 people on, randomly. It's like I think that everyone needs to be more engaged in doing that. It will benefit everyone.
Also, people need
Dan?
to try to
Go ahead. Go ahead, Gibbs.
just try to be aware that the new members are new members and that sometimes they don't come back because people are dicks to them. And I mean, the only way we can get more people to stay is if we're nicer to them at the beginning and then start pounding on their ass in like a week or a few days.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think all factions should have some sort of rule. I posted rules for new factionless players. They have a 48-hour grace period that no one can touch them, and if they do, they get severely punished within the fire faction. If upon repeated offense, they'll eventually get kicked out. So some sort of rule within the fire faction should do that, if not a rule on the server.
I do like that, Lives. Now, the one thing is, I don't really want to impose like server restrictions like that. Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing that I would like to enforce is like no camping of new players. So don't just keep killing them and killing them. So that, I mean, I'll post a rule related to that. But as far as no killing them, not going to implement anything like that as a server restriction. If the nations do that'd be something I'd like to see. That would be having like the community as
Stepping
a whole
up
like agree to that.
and being
I would
mature,
like
yeah.
exactly. I'd like to see that, but definitely we'll have like a new like maybe like a 24 like 48 hours some type of period where like the new players just don't camp them, and then you're okay with the server. Now if the nations address that differently, that's like I said, something I'd like to see. But
At
So I
one
do like
time,
that.
we have thought about doing that, where for a week you couldn't do anything. It was just it's too hard to keep up with. So I mean, we're just gonna play it by ear. Obviously, you all have to read the rules when you log onto the server. So if you go against the rules, then you get warned. You get warned more than once, and you get promoted to a non-player. So.
And the other thing is, it does specifically say it's PvP, survival, all that, right in the rules room. So I mean, there shouldn't be any of that, like, oh, like, I mean, he killed me. I mean, it is allowed, but like I said, something that we'd like to get away from. So if that's like kind of your stance on it, Lives, I really like to see that.
Um, y- I don't really have much of a comment to say on that. Like, I don't know, like people like hate Fire Faction because like we'll kill people and then like we'll obviously talk trash in game. Beam said this the best way. It's a role playing faction, so in game we hate you. So like I like KJP, but in game I'm like, oh, I hate you, you suck, blah blah. Within the rule limits, of course. But you know when he comes on TeamSpeak, we treat him like a person because he's a friend. So I think that everyone, you know, all the leaders are here, so everyone needs to understand that. It's like, you know, I'll bash Danny Page and Earth and be like, oh, you guys suck, but like, you know, they'll come on TeamSpeak and I'll be like, hey, what's up? How was your day? You know, I think everyone needs to, you know, separate those, realize that we actually respect you as human beings and you're just not
Oh.
Minecraft characters. Bullshit.
No, yeah, I mean, that is something I've noticed, and I do like that. Like, I don't mind I mean, occasionally, like the occasional cursing, trash talking in game, but it's when I mean, everyone knows what's right and what's wrong. So, I mean, it's not hard to distinguish.
Yeah. A question we got is, will mobs drop more XP?
It depends on the plugin that we use, on whether or not we have some ideas for earning XPs a little bit differently. Just keep your eyes on the forums for that. So there are some opportunities where you'll be able to purchase XP.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but personally, Fire Faction's having problem with their XP grinders. 1 out of like every 20 gives experience. I don't know. I think that's probably like some sort of Mojang or bucket issue, but we're not getting XP from every mob we kill,
That's
and that
a rare drop for our server. We have it set as XP for a rare drop. So not every
Oh.
mob will drop XP.
Yeah, and it's based on spawners. So that's why you can not get XP on every drop of pigmen that you farm.
I was not aware of that.
Knowing is half the battle. Anything else, guys?
I got
Random
lots of
things?
questions.
Just questions, you know, keep it professional, and then when we start recording, you can ask the stupid questions.
Well, I just had some ideas like for mods. Like I was gonna suggest those 2 mods earlier,
Sure.
and I was thinking, is there any other mods that we can do to like enhance PvP or enhance building? Like I don't know, maybe like have like a building mod that has like contraptions. I remember Heroes had like gates or something like that.
Well, let me stop you right there. Now the actual Heroes server, like, are you talking about like their professions that they use?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't mean.
Let me just tell you what I plan on doing. When Heroes is back, there's your main combat class, and then there's your profession class. Now the professions, one of the profession, and we're kind of taking this a little bit from Heroes, a little bit from our own stuff. But there's going to be like a Mason, and the Mason can construct things like bridges that you can operate with switches, like elevators, lifts, gates, things like that. There's going to be another class that can use like wireless receivers with redstone, build more advanced redstone contraptions, um, the things like that. If that's what you're referring to, we do plan
Yes.
on, yeah, I do plan on implementing it, but I don't want to give it to everybody. I want it to be a specialization. Now, another thing related to that, the reason why the town minimum is set at 6 people, is because there's the town leader, and then there's 5 other players. That covers, if all 5 players choose a different profession, it doesn't cover all the professions, but it covers all your main professions. So if you want, it would require you to have a mason, an alchemist, an enchanter, an engineer, which is the redstone class. It would allow you to have all those slots filled before you can even create a town. Now, if you go with 5 of the same thing, that's fine, but you're going to be outsourcing a lot of your things. Like if you want to create a bridge or an elevator, you're going to have to pay someone else to make it for you if you don't have one in your town. So that's the reason for the town restriction as far as players go. But that is a planned implementation. Again, something we're restricted to because I want to wait to specialize it with heroes.
All right, thank you.
And just from that, any other suggestions or questions about other mods, let's put that on the forums under suggestions or off top or the different sections that we have on the forums. This will pretty much conclude our first summit, Foo Summit. It went less than what we allocated, but I think we got a lot done. Hopefully you guys learned something from it. Feel free to comment on the forums, and we do appreciate you guys for showing up.
Yep.
Thanks.
User left your channel.